How we doing, guys? Welcome back to the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. Happy Sunday. I'm hoping it's going to be a happy Sunday for my New York Yankees. They lost a heartbreaker in Cleveland last night. Dodgers and Padres are in a battle. Padres looking to end everyone's favorite in the playoffs. We got the Phillies advancing to their first NLCS since 2010. The Astros had to play 2 baseball games to advance to another ALCS. And we're also going to give our picks on Week 6 in the NFL. With me, as always, my good friend, Mr. Michael Zappy. How you doing, boss?
It's the middle of October, man. No one would have ever thought that we would likely see the Phillies versus Padres in the NLCS.
No.
This is beautiful.
No, can't say that I saw that. Not a chance. No. Update us on the Dodgers game. You are watching it. So what is going on right at this moment here?
So we are in the top of the 8th inning. Suarez has come in to pitch for the Padres, and of course he has not allowed an earned run since August. He has gotten the first 2 batters out. He is currently facing Lux with a 0-2 count. Looks like it's going to go into the bottom of the 8th. I mean, this game, to be real with you, Padres fans will forever remember this game, the bottom of the 7th, as the inning that saved their season, and they advanced because 5 hits, 5 runs. I mean, they were dead. They were dead in the water in this game, and they just woke up. And Suarez just struck out Lux, so we're going into the bottom of the 8th at a score of 5-3.
Speaking of dead in the water, I got to talk about the lack of offense here. You're talking about 2 baseball games, essentially, an 18-inning contest, which is essentially 2 baseball games. This was a weird series. One of the best series that I think people have seen in a long time, but the 3-0 in the series wouldn't indicate that. You got 2 walk-offs, 2 games where the Astros were losing. They vanquished the 6-0 lead in game 1. Then today, I mean, you couldn't ask for better pitching on either side. I think the Mariners showed a lot of moxie. I think they showed that they're going to be around. They're going to be around for a while. This wasn't just some fluky sneak into the playoffs. They're a good team. The Astros right now are, you got to like them no matter who comes out of the Yankee series with the the Guardians right now. You kind of got to like, especially with a lot of the heavy hitters falling, a lot of the favorites are down. The Phillies kind of got those Washington National vibes from a couple of years ago. They're really hot. To finish 3rd in your division, but to be the last team standing in your division is pretty remarkable. Their first NLCS since 2010. But this has been a wild playoffs. Not indicative, with the exception of maybe the Astros, not indicative of the season so far.
Yeah, it goes to show that championship teams always figure out a way to win. And the Astros are the epitome of that right now. I mean, they were down 7-3 in game 1, came back, had that walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th by Alvarez. They win that game. Game 2, once again, walk off, win the game. And then today, I mean, like you said, it was incredible pitching by both the Mariners and the Astros, incredible defense as well by both teams. And really, it was Dusty Baker going with Garcia and allowing him to pitch 5 solid innings. And that, to me, was the difference in the game. Eventually we knew someone was going to get some base runners. The Astros did a couple of times, but every time the Mariners got out of a jam, sure enough, and then finally the Astros broke free and they won, And then as far as the Phillies, I mean, they came into the playoffs hot, and here we are. They, Bryce Harper, his bat got going. Kyle Schwarber, his bat's been going. Their pitching has been incredible. I mean, I would have never thought they were going to put a beat down on the Braves the way they did. And then talking about the Yankees, I mean, the one Achilles heel that a lot of us thought was going to be their issue was their pitching. And then to see what happened in the bottom of the 9th with, was it, I believe, Cabrera that was pitching for you guys? Oh, Peralta. I'm sorry, Peralta. that was
who I would have kept in. I got to talk about this. You want to talk about mismanagement of the bullpen? Clark Schmidt, who has never truly during the course of the season been in a situation like this, they put him in a pivotal swing game. Peralta, at different junctures of the year, has gotten himself out of those kind of jams. And where is Clay Holmes? I'm sorry. Mismanagement to the max. I mean, yes, Clark Schmidt twice with the final 2 batters of the ball game had them down to 2 strikes. I get it. Actually, 2 of the last 3, he struck out the in-between batter before giving up the hit. And it's a guy that was 0 for 4. It's just like I'm listening to it, and I just know what's coming. It's like I knew it. I'm very disappointed with Aaron Boone. The way that he dealt with this. It is ridiculous when you really think about that Aaron Boone really, in my opinion, cost his team the game. I mean, Luis Severino got off to a rough start. He responded well. But to your point, this is the difference between teams that are pretenders and teams like the Astros, as much as I hate to say this, that year in and year out prove why they are always there. The Yankees going into this year, Aroldis Chapman was supposed to be their closer. That goes without saying. He was considered. Yeah, wasn't even on the roster. Self-inflicted. He's done. The Yankees will not reinvest in him after essentially giving up on his teammates. They told him, no, you're not on the roster for this first round, but we still want you to compete. And truth be told, they didn't even tell him that. He essentially decided that he wasn't going to be on the roster. So there is no future for Aroldis Chapman. I said this earlier today. I think the Yankees have to go out and just get themselves a closer that they know can get it done on a night-to-night basis. Clay Holmes had moments this year. I don't necessarily consider him the closer, so to speak. I think he had a good run in doing something. But, you lose a game like this. I don't know. The momentum is shot right now. I don't see the Yankees coming back from this. I don't. It's hard. It's a hard sell for me, especially given the way these playoffs have gone. It's a hard sell for me to think that the Yanks are going to force a game 5, let alone win in 5. I predicted the Yankees winning in 5 going into the series, but you can't give a game away like that.
No, you can't. And I mean, the one positive I guess you can take of is you have your ace starting tomorrow in Garrett Cole. The Guardians are going to have Quantrill pitching, so we're going to have a good pitching matchup. It's going to come down to which bats come out tomorrow. And I mean, quite frankly, how do the Yankees respond? I mean, you are up 5-3 in the bottom of the 9th, and
getting out hit by more than 10.
Yes,
we were getting out hit, but we hit the long ball. But yet again, another playoff series that proves that the Yankees, it always seems like it's live and die by the long ball. And in a very short sample size in these playoffs, once again, it's kind of showing its ugly head that the Yankees, yet again, too dependent on the long ball. But even the pitching itself can't really complain all that much. I mean, you go into the 9th with a lead like that, you need to get 3 guys out. First batter, no issue, and then it got interesting. I think what's most frustrating for me personally is that when you look at this Cleveland roster, they have 2 hitters, maybe 3. They have Ahmed Rosario, they have Stephen Kwan, and obviously they have Ramirez. But just an awful, awful way to lose this juncture of the year. And tomorrow's everything. I'll put it to you like this. If the Yankees sneak out of Cleveland with a win, I'm confident they're going to win Game 5. But I'm just not sure that they're going to get out of Cleveland without their golf clubs. It don't look good. You just can't lose a game like that the way they did. It was like watching a slow burning fire. I just saw it coming.
And it almost felt like today's game was the series. The winner of today's game was going to win the series. And I mean, to come out of the woodwind and just come back the way the Guardians did. I mean, you got to tip your hat off to them, first of all. Like you said, there was some mismanagement by Aaron Boone, but Yankees got to come out tomorrow and they've got to play like everything depends on it, because quite frankly, this might be the last time we see Aaron Judge with that uniform on. This might be Aaron Boone's last game he manages, as much as people are not really talking about it.
I think the latter is more realistic. The more we get closer to the offseason, whether it starts tomorrow for the Yankees or whether they advance, I have a growing confidence that Aaron Judge is going to stay with the Yankees. We'll see how that plays out. I actually do have a growing confidence in that. But, I feel that anything short of an ALCS appearance,
that's a complete disappointment.
Absolutely. You're the best team in baseball for the better part of 90 games. They had a rough enough 6-week patch where they fell out of number one contention. Still finished with the second best record in the American League. Anything short of an ALCS appearance, yes, absolutely, is a disappointment. Padres about to eliminate the Dodgers, and once again, the Dodgers. You talk about another team. Year in and year out, this team wins north of 100 games. But when it's all said and done, if they only have this one World Series from the pandemic season, the 60-game season, their history is not going to remember the Dodgers all that fondly either. I mean, they're still going to be in the mix for the, it seems like given their long pockets, they can always put a great team out there. But it is pretty wild when you think about that the Dodgers only have one. It's kind of reminding me of what the Braves were able to not accomplish when you consider their great teams of the 90s, but they weren't able to, consistently bring the hardware where they were constantly the bridesmaid.
And, it's funny you say the pandemic with the Dodgers. I mean, I think we could say the pandemic with the city of LA. If it wasn't for the Rams last year, we're talking about the Lakers and the Dodgers both winning your pandemic championships. But other than that, they haven't really done anything, and yeah, cool. You win another 100 win season, but you're going to fall short yet again. Made 3 of the last 5 World Series. It looks like it's going to be 3 of the last 6. We're going into the top of the 9th, by the way. Padres are going to be set up with their 2-3-4 hitter coming into the bottom of the 9th if they need it. So I'll keep you updated with that. But anyways, yeah, it's just, there's going to be a lot more question marks. And especially after you go get a guy like Freddie Freeman. And then this is going to be the end result of it, that you blow a 3-0 lead in the 7th inning and fall to your rivals who made the trades in Juan Soto, Josh Bell. And I mean, they made the trades for that one.
Yeah, they brought in Hader. They brought in Hader, and I think what makes this remarkable, they have not played one game this season without Fernando Tatis. So moving forward, you would have to think, in the grand scheme of things, that this kind of actually hurts the stock to a level of a Fernando Tatis, given the fact that they've said, well, look what we did without you. And it's funny because it reminds me, I made a Washington Nationals reference earlier in the show. It reminds me once again about what they're able to do, in this case without Tatis, what the Nationals were able to do right after Bryce Harper left. Now Bryce Harper could be going to the World Series. We'll see how that plays out. But it's funny that they're going to run into each other, potentially, more than likely at this point. Unbelievable. Just an unbelievable set of circumstances and occurrences that have happened in the wild card / now divisional round of the Major League Baseball playoffs. Tomorrow, big day for me. Obviously, the Yankees are an evening game. We got a great slate of football, which we're about to roll over on. But this is the first game that I'm going to have my attention on tomorrow. My New York Giants overachieving in a very big way. 4-1, hosting the 3-2 Baltimore Ravens. This is an exciting game. It seems like whenever these two teams draw each other on the schedule, which is rare, they both are having good years. You go back to 2008, Both teams had excellent years. You go to 16, more so for the Giants. Ravens are usually a staple with the playoffs. Point to be made here, you got our only blemish in the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 35, go back to the 2000 season. I'll give you the keys to victory for each team, and along with my prediction, I think for the Baltimore Ravens, they've got to force the Giants to throw the ball more. They've got to keep them in third and not so manageable. The way to beat the Ravens is over the top. Problem is, the Giants don't necessarily have the weapons to do that. Giants' keys to victory is essentially what they've been doing. You've got to be able to continue to run the ball and continue to apply pressure on opposing quarterbacks. Crazy stat, the Giants have not recorded an interception yet.
Really? Huh.
But statistically are amongst one of the top defensive units in the NFL, more like on the bottom part of the 10, 12 range, but definitely a pleasant surprise in the grand scheme of things when you look at the limitations of what they had to work with going in. You bring in a veteran in Jalen Smith who has had 2 quality games. You bring in Landon Collins, former All-Pro with the Giants, who now is going to have a different role in Wink Martindale's system. I feel good about this game on the level because Wink Martindale knows Lamar's tendencies, very much so. Seeing him year in and year out for many years with the Baltimore Ravens. Giants scored 27 points last week, which was their best offensive output in London. Giants are the dogs again. 5 points at home, which I tend to think is a little steep. I like the Giants to win this one 27-24. Think it's going to be close? I'm calling for a Graham Gano field goal late to put them up for good. It's gonna be a good game. But I do believe that the Giants could get Lamar out of his comfort zone. And quite frankly, I just love what the defense is doing right now. I love the fact that Daniel Jones is gaining valuable confidence. For the first time in his career, he is really putting something together. For a few weeks, people could say, oh, it's the running game. Oh, it's the defense. Last week in England, especially when Saquon went down briefly, that was Daniel Jones making those throws. That was Daniel Jones extending those drives. Giants are getting better.
I've got to say, I'm almost there to start buying into the Giants. Last week surprised me a lot. They had a nice little comeback win. That's the second one this year. The Ravens, you look at them. I mean, this is a team that should technically be undefeated right now if you really break them down this year.
Yeah, two blown second half leads.
Yeah, so this is a really I think it's a lot closer than people would think. When you think of the Ravens and Giants today, and when you look at them on paper, you think, oh, the Ravens should easily run away with this game. But really, the Ravens, they're going to be missing a couple of key players, as are the Giants. Ojulari looks like he's not going to play tomorrow, and I think that's going to actually hurt the Giants a little bit, especially when it looks like they're going to have to stop the run. You're going to have to stop Lamar Jackson, him rolling out. He's going to be looking for Mark Andrews, and he's going to be looking for Devin Duvernay. Will they be able to slow down J.K. Dobbins? Will they be able to slow down Lamar? Will they be able to slow down the passing game? And then vice versa. Will the Ravens be able to slow down Daniel Jones, who's actually having a very good year? And that's what people don't understand, that Daniel Jones is proving that he deserves that contract we've talked about, a 2-year extension where, all right, this is his first year under Brian Dable, and he's actually doing very well. Saquon's having a resurrection type year that people have been waiting for. I like this Giants team, actually, and I'm liking them more and more. And I'm a Cowboy fan, and it's weird for me to say that. But I have to go with the Ravens. I have to go with Harbaugh to pull it off, a close one. I have the Ravens winning 21-17.
Neither outcome would blow my mind. I just feel that the Giants have earned the right for me to finally pick them. I'm pleased with the way they're playing. They are going to be at home. It's going to be a very raucous crowd. And the Ravens are not that good against the run, and that's what the Giants do better than anybody in the NFL right now. So it's going to be an exciting game. We got the Vikings traveling to Miami to take on the Dolphins. To give you the skinny on the quarterbacking situation, Tua Tagovailoa actually has passed his concussion protocol, but they are going to hold him out one more game. Teddy Bridgewater is the backup. He's coming off a concussion as well for this one. Skylar Thompson is getting his first career start. The Vikings have been winning ugly, but they've been winning. They are the first place team currently in the NFC North, but they've been having issues putting teams away, keeping teams, letting teams hang around. I expect the same here. I think the Dolphins are going to keep this thing close, but I do believe that given the issues at quarterback late in the game, I think that's where the tide can turn. I like the Vikings when they close someone here 24-23 on the road to secure at least one more week of being atop the NFC North by themselves. Miami is, I still think in the long run going to be all right, is what I mean, even this season. But right now they're going through a rough patch. This is a game Miami could steal. I just don't think they will.
So before I give my prediction, just to give you an update, we are in the bottom of the ninth right now. I'm sorry, the top of the ninth right now. Hader is facing Freeman, 2 outs, 2 strikes. So we are 1 strike away from the Padres advancing to the NLCS. Now, talking about the Dolphins-Vikings game, there's a lot of people that actually believe that Skylar Thompson is the best quarterback on that team, which is surprising to say for a rookie out of Kansas State. I still think that the Dolphins would be better off having Tua starting just because he looked like –
or even Teddy.
Game over. Padres advance. Hader just struck out Freeman. Wow. 24 years, and they have advanced to the NLCS, defeating the Los Angeles Dodgers. Oh, my goodness.
So 24 years ago, to reference that, they ran into a buzzsaw known as the 1998 New York Yankees. They swept the Padres that year, one of the greatest regular season performances of all time in terms of a win-loss percentage, beating the late, great Tony Gwynn and the Padres that year. 4 straight. I actually did go to the parade that year with my late Aunt Deborah Hicks. Wow. Padres are in. That's crazy. So the Dodgers, so Freddie Freeman and his old team get eliminated on the same day.
On the same day.
That's wild.
And Freddie Freeman, I mean, he was having a good game. He was 3 for 3.
Joey Gallo can still get a ring if the Yankees advance.
If the Yankees advance.
If the Yankees win the World Series, Joey Gallo still gets a ring.
Wow, this is so. I mean, well, anyways, let's go back to football. I can sit here and start talking about the Padres once again, but yeah, I am taking Minnesota. I think they just offensively right now are well off, and I think Miami is going to struggle moving the ball. Skylar Thompson, I need to see a lot more from him. I didn't watch enough of him during the preseason, so I'm going to take Minnesota to win this game 24-17.
All right, we both agree on that. We got the Pats going to Cleveland. This is where Coach Bill Belichick's head coaching career started. To my dismay and many other Giant fans, they allowed him to leave the building, as well as Tom Coughlin. That 1990 Super Bowl came with a lot of losses. Coughlin went to BC. Belichick to Cleveland. Parcells to a fake retirement before becoming the head coach of the New England Patriots. Then Belichick followed. Then Belichick left. Then Belichick was the Jet coach for 1 hour. Anyway, this is his former team. Patriots have been doing a lot of things good lately. They had an impressive loss to the Green Bay Packers, a game that they could have won, and they're coming off of a shutout. And in today's NFL, no matter who you're playing, a shutout is pretty freaking impressive. And they also shut out the Detroit Lions, a team that scores a lot of points. This week, though, I have a suspicion that they're going to run into some trouble here. I don't like this matchup for the Patriots for a few reasons. Number one is that I don't think that they have an answer to keep the heat off of Bailey Zappy this week. They are getting back Jacoby Myers, which I believe would take Brett's favorite Patriot, Devontae Parker, out of the mix on a more consistent basis. Last week, he was not able to record a catch. For the fantasy heads out there, Ramondre Stevenson is that dude. I am happy he's on my team. He is going to get a ton of carries, win or lose. I actually expect that's how this game's going to be. You're going to see a lot of Nick Chubb. You're going to see a lot of Stevenson. It's going to look like a very old school NFL type game. I just think the Browns are itching for a win. I feel that they should have a couple more wins than they do this year. And you and I have said on many a show, stay around 500 ball, wait for Deshaun to come back, let the chips fall where they may. This is a very talented football team. Patriots, not so much. Patriots are well coached, but not all that talented. I like the Browns, but actually the score you just mentioned in the previous game, I'm going 24-17 Browns at home. Jacoby Brissett, revenge game.
So Belichick has not yet announced whether Mac Jones will be playing tomorrow or Bailey Zappe.
It'd be a terrible decision. You play Zappe.
Absolutely. You play the name 100%. As much as I hate the Patriots, you got to play Zappe.
Yeah.
No, and one thing that people aren't talking about is with the Patriots, between Stevenson and Harris, they're the only running back duo in the NFL so far to have over 250 yards each.
Yeah, and Harris is dinged up right now. That's why I made the Stevenson comment about his growing stock.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Cleveland has a few players that are going to be playing, are not going to be playing tomorrow. They did make a trade for Deion Jones, but he's still on injured reserve, so it looks like he's going to be playing next week instead. Denzel Ward's going to be out. Clowney's out. It looks like Garrett should be playing, so good for him, especially after that tremendous accident he went through.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse than it was.
I have the Patriots coming up with the victory on this one. I'm sure Brett's going to love it. I just think right now it seems more and more like this team is playing team football. And I think Bailey Zappe gives that team better chance at winning than Mac Jones does. I'm sorry I said it, but I've been a fan of Bailey Zappe ever since they drafted the guy. I was on the show saying Bailey Zappe will replace Mac Jones as a starting quarterback. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be a very good defensive game. I think Stevenson's going to get his 120 yards and a touchdown. But ultimately, I think it comes down to who has the ball last, and I see the Patriots pulling off. I guess, would this be even an upset? I mean, some would say yes, some would say no.
I call this game, regardless of what Vegas tells me, I call this game a toss-up. Two very imperfect teams for different reasons. We'll see. It's going to be close. We disagree on this one, which is cool because we agree a lot more than we don't. Keeping it in that AFC East division, the Packers get the gauntlet of MetLife teams. They got beat at home, technically, in England, to my New York Giants. They're going to be without Christian Watson for this one, taking on a very motivated Jets team, a Jets team that is feeling pretty good about themselves lately. Oh, look who's with us. It's the one they call Brett. How do you like that?
Go Pats.
Yeah, man. I'm assuming Brett's probably watching on his ride home. I think he might. I don't even think he's home yet, but at any rate. Packers showed a lot of warts last week, not being able to put away the Giants, not being able to make the in-game adjustments the Giants made. Robert Saleh has his Jets believing, our 7-win prediction, not looking all that shabby right now. Having said all that, Aaron Rodgers is going to have a tough game here. Sauce Gardner's cutting off half the field. But I still like the Packers in a close one. I do believe that Aaron Jones is going to have a big day. And I would say that a low-key matchup here and an issue that the Jets have had on offense, not since Wilson took back the job, since coming back from the injury, their tight end Conklin has just not been able to get going. But I do think that's something that's going to be important for them to stay in this game or to win this game even. In the end, Green Bay wins a close one at home, 24-20. But the Jets are hanging. And the Jets are kind of arriving. They're showing people that they are not the same old Jets.
I am buying stock on this New York Jets team. And the reason why I'm buying stock is because of one player, and that's Breece Hall. This guy has been an incredible running back for this team. With Zach Wilson coming back last week and what they did to Miami, I mean, they won 40-17. And I'm sorry, if Tua is playing, he doesn't make up the 23 points.
No.
This Jets team is playing inspired football. Robert Saleh has that defense playing. Sauce Gardner, I mean, he is taking away half that field.
He's got to be in the running for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Oh, 100%. There is no question about it. I mean, you could talk about him, Aiden Hutchinson. You could talk about a couple of other players. But right now, what he is doing, and, you know, remember, he did get his first pick last week, so good on him. I like the Jets. This Packers team right now is, to me, in shambles more than most people want to admit. Here's the funny thing, that after week 6, after tomorrow, it's very possible that the New York Jets are going to be in first place in that division if the Bills lose in Kansas City and they win against the Packers.
Yeah, they'll be tied with the Bills.
But they'll have the division lead because the Bills lost the division game already. So
they did lose to Miami. It seems like another lifetime ago because Miami lost so much in that game that people tend to forget that they actually won the game. Myself, it wasn't at the forefront of my mind. It's not happening, though. But it'd be a hell of a freaking thing.
But I'm taking the Jets. I'm taking them to win with a last-second field goal. 27-24. Great game.
This is a tough one. These are two teams that don't play each other very often. That's part of the reason why it is somewhat tough. To my knowledge, I believe that Andy Dalton is starting again for the Saints. Is he not?
From what I last saw, it looks like, well, the team was preparing for Andy Dalton to be the starter. Jameis Winston, as of Wednesday, I believe he was limited at practice yet again. So from my understanding should be Andy Dalton's.
So this is a revenge game for the Red Rifle.
Also known as the Red Rocket.
Having said all that, I don't even care because this Saints offense is incredibly anemic. I love what they are doing. That's another thing. Chris Olave might not be playing tomorrow. He's still in protocol. Yeah, this will not go away. This will not go away with the Padres tonight. It kind of takes some attention off my Yankees, at least. As far as the game goes here, these are two offenses that are trying to find themselves. Joe Burrow has been having a rough first few games here. The interceptions have been on the uptick. He's getting hit a lot. That doesn't necessarily surprise me because I was very staunch on my belief that the Bengals did not do enough in the offseason to improve that O-line. Jamar Chase has been having issues having those blow-up games as he did super frequently last year. I would give New Orleans a slight edge on the defense. I just think roster for roster, the Bengals are still a little better. I don't think the Bengals are as good as people thought they were after that amazing Super Bowl runner-up run. I got the Bengals winning this thing 20-17. It's going to be close. It's going to be low scoring, but I got the Bengals winning it 20-17 in the Big Easy.
Yeah, it's I think the Saints have a better chance of winning this game if they have Andy Dalton starting over Jameis Winston. As crazy as it is to say that, but as of 3 hours ago, it did look like Olave is going to be out. The Bengals, I mean, gosh, we thought they found themselves after they started 0-2, then got to 2-2, and now here they are. They took a 17-16 lead late against the Ravens last week and lost 19-17. So once again, they still haven't found themselves. That offense has been a little stagnant compared to what we saw last year. Between Boyd, Higgins, and Jamar Chase, and even Joe Mixon, they're not putting up the numbers that they should be putting up. There should be a team averaging 31 points a game, and they're not. I, however, do like the Bengals. I like the Bengals in a low-scoring game. I believe they covered the 3-point spread and win 20-17. It's just I love the Saints defense. I think they've got a great defense, but offensively they just don't have enough right now. And then again, Olave's out, Mike Thomas is out. I mean, there's too much.
Oh God.
Well, I mean, he had a great game. Not what was it, 9 carries for 112 yards last week.
If
Decent
anybody's gonna
little.
run the Wildcat to effectiveness, it's gonna be the New York Football Giants this week. Watch for that. This is a real slobber knocker. The Jaguars and the Colts punt, pass, maybe punt, pass, maybe. Can the Jags get the season sweep over one team that you and I both really overestimated? I'm going to say no. I think the Indianapolis Colts come away with a victory here for one reason and one reason only. I just feel that Trevor Lawrence is going to make more mistakes than Matt Ryan. I really mean that. Jaguars have a foundation to be a good team in a few years. They're just not quite there yet. And this is also a big game for the Colts in the sense that Frank Reich is on the hot seat. He needs this win here. They get beat at home to this Jaguar team, he might be fired at day's end tomorrow, or I should say later today. Yeah, I'm going to go it's going to be low scoring as well. I'm going to go 23-20 Indianapolis Colts. I just think they win the turnover battle. I don't trust Trevor Lawrence just yet. I really don't. And I think Frank Reich is going to get his guys to play hard.
You know, after the Jaguars had that 14-0 lead in Philly, they've been non-existent. You know, they lose the game 29-21. Then they, against Houston last week, lose 13-6. Good news for the Jaguars is Jonathan Taylor's not playing tomorrow or today. Nyheim Hines is not playing. Darius Leonard is still out. Kwity Paye's not playing. So the Colts are missing some players. However, the one thing that I like what the Colts have done is, one, they have promoted Sam Ehlinger to the number 2 quarterback position, who I have been calling for this team.
They got to do something. They've got to. So let me ask you this: that bumps Foles down to 3?
To 3. And I'm telling you,
I think Foles still in the league. God.
Because of what he did in 2017.
Yeah, people are still paying him. People are still paying for the thought of what he was for 3 hours. My God.
Yeah, but ultimately, I have to go with the home team. I have to go with the crowd. I have to go with the better team, the better roster. If you really look at it, I mean, no matter what, the Jaguars, they're competitive. They blew a game last week and actually the last 2 weeks, but the Colts need this game more for many reasons. You alluded to Frank Reich possibly getting fired. He's on the hot seat. There's no question about it. We've already seen one head coach get fired. He very well could be the next one, especially if they lose at home tomorrow to Jackson. Excuse me. I am taking the Colts in a very low scoring, very snooze fest type game, 13-10 Colts.
Yikes. This is a get right game for the Tampa Bay Bucks, or at least it's supposed to be. I might be one of the few people that thinks that this game's actually going to be rather close. I think this could be Pickett's coming out party to a level, but they still lose ultimately. I'm going to go Tampa Bay 27, Pittsburgh Steelers 23. I think after what happened to the Steelers last week, just thoroughly getting embarrassed, I feel that although this is going to be the first time that Mike Tomlin has a losing season, it looks pretty indicative that that's where it's going. There's going to be some peaks and valleys with this young quarterback, and I think this is going to be one of the good ones. Tom Brady, I could see him maybe having a rough first half. Maybe Tampa just kind of sleepwalks a little in the first half before they finally wake up. This is supposed to be a get-right game for Tampa. But quite frankly, I think Tampa has a great share of their own issues. And no matter what year, that's not an easy place to go in and just, naturally think it's going to be a cakewalk. And part of the reason why I got it just under the 30s is because I think there's going to be some defensive scoring setups in this game. In the end, I like Tampa, but quite frankly, I'm not feeling too great about Tampa for the bigger picture either.
I feel opposite. I think this is going to you say get right game, and I think that's exactly what this game is going to be for the Bucks. Yeah, I'm actually more along the lines with Brett. No Watt, no Minka Fitzpatrick. Their top 3 cornerbacks are out as well. This is the game Tom Brady needs to have himself a 350-yard, 3-touchdown, 4-touchdown type
You
game.
would think.
I think he gets it. I just right now with Pittsburgh, especially after what they looked like last week against Buffalo, it just right now they just don't look like they're there, and they haven't given me any reason to believe they're going to be competitive with Tampa Bay tomorrow. I have them getting blown out at home. Brett says 31-16. I say 31-10. Tampa Bay. Brady has himself a big game, and the Pittsburgh Steelers get themselves a late touchdown that just doesn't mean anything because at that point, Tampa Bay will just be scheming a regular defense, not scheming to do anything really.
I've got an overtime game here. 49ers 22, Falcons 16, overtime final. A team that I often poke fun at, I think the Falcons are a little better than people have given them credit for. I think that they found that they do have a little bit of a running game past Cordarrelle Patterson. I think they found that Marcus Mariota, while not being the long-term solution, does have a little bit left in the tank. And I think the most surprising thing about this Falcons team is that their defense is actually not that bad. The 49ers, quite frankly, are still built similarly to a team that lost the Super Bowl a few years ago and just last year lost the title game. Jimmy G still kind of getting his timing back. People do forget he did not work out directly with this team. They were trying to trade him. Lance got hurt. Jimmy G back in. He had a crap game against Denver. Last week looked sufficiently better. The Niners, things clicking right in the grand scheme of things with the many losses that the Rams have, with the Cardinals trying to figure out their lives without D-Hop and just getting through navigating week in and week out. Seahawks team that I still think is pretending. Yeah, it looks like this should be the Niners division this year. As far as the game goes, I think the Falcons are going to stick around, and in typical Atlanta Falcons fashion, they'll probably throw a pick six in overtime. That's what they do. But I like the Niners by 6 in OT.
Number 1 defense in every category you can think of for the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
They might not have Nick Bosa. But I honestly don't think that makes a difference. The Falcons, they started off hot this year, but they've slowly been coming back down to earth. I just think this 49ers team is damn good, and they're only getting their traction going right now. I have the 49ers winning this game 24-13 and really just running the ball as usual, running the ball and playing defense.
This might be one of the worst games of the day. This is a get-right game for the Rams because the Panthers are so jacked up on so many levels. I expect a closer game than people think. The Panthers are going to play inspired. They just fired their coach. Anybody that's a professional in that locker room that cares is going to show up to this game. Having said all that, I like the Rams by 10, but it's not going to be grossly beat down. I'm going to go Rams 27, Panthers 17. In the end, they don't have an answer really for Cooper Kupp. And the only reason I think this game is going to be sort of close, I actually think Matthew Stafford might have his typical couple of interceptions approaching the fourth quarter, then wake it up. And the Rams have their share of issues too. Cam Akers, not a favorite of head coach Sean McVay right now. They're going to be starting Henderson tomorrow. Rams very much not looking like the Super Bowl champs.
This Carolina team is just...
On paper, they're supposed to be so much better. They got a good defense.
They're supposed to be, but let's face it, we are about to see this team get gutted.
Yeah, McCaffrey's got to get dealt, you think?
Yeah, you would think. And they've already said they're getting calls. They will do it for a high pick. or a couple of picks. Buffalo seems to be leading the way. Then you also talk about DJ Moore. I bet he gets traded away. Then you could talk about Derek Brown or Brian Burns or even J.C. Horn. This fan base has 2 weeks left of watching a lot of these players.
I think we may have lost Zappy momentarily. I think where he was going on the tangent was that not a whole lot of time left for Panther fans to see key players that could be getting moved. DJ Moore, definitely a lot of teams that can use a receiver of his caliber. Christian McCaffrey, that goes without saying, when healthy, arguably the best back in the league. Till Zappy returns, I'm going to move it back to the Cardinals and Seahawks. This is another interconference matchup. Divisional matchup in the NFC West. Pardon me, just kind of figuring something. There he is.
Anyways, I heard you cover what I was saying about the tangent, what I was saying, where the Panthers fans have a couple weeks to watch of a lot of these players. Rams, it almost seems like they have just as many question marks right now with their running backs, Allen Robinson. Now they really miss Robert Woods. Odell Beckham, it sounds like they offered him a very, very, very bad deal for him.
Yeah, he's not pleased with what they offered at all.
But really, when you break it down, as bad as they're both playing, that much worse right now. And like we thought, they quit on their team or on their coach. It was pretty obvious. Rams, they're still in the thick of things. They're only one game back or actually a game and a half back of the Niners because they do have that loss to them already. I'm taking the Rams, and what might be a high-scoring game for the Rams, but for Rams fans out there, don't let that trick you. They have a lot of question marks. They're just getting lucky to play a really bad Panther team.
They're bad. They're really bad. Keeping it in that division. Cardinals are only 1 week away from getting back DeAndre Hopkins. I know Brett's got to be happy in our fantasy league. I know I'm happy in one of my other leagues. Actually, two of my other leagues. I have D-Hop. Seahawks just lost Rashad Penny for the season. This presents an opportunity to Kenneth Walker. I would have to give the Cardinals the advantage on defense. I would have to give the Seahawks the advantage on offense in terms of the fact that they have better receivers that are in the games right now. I expect this to actually be a bit of a high-scoring affair. But in the end, I like the team at home. I think the Seahawks are going to pull out a close one here, and I'm going to go 29-26 Seahawks with a late field goal attempt yet again missed by the Cardinals 2 weeks in a row. They're going to lose by the foot or lack thereof. Like the Seahawks for the victory at home.
I've got it a little different, actually. I like the Seattle team.
We're gonna move
Smith and it took him a few years to get going, but he's actually been playing very well. So I've got to say that this Seahawks team, because of the fact that they're playing at home, are going to win a close game. But I have Seattle actually coming away with the victory and staying on pace with the 49ers. As crazy it is to say that.
Rematch of the best game of last year's playoffs. This is a great week. Yeah, a lot of great matchups. I expect both teams' defenses are going to make some plays in the first half. I think it's going to really open up in the second half where it becomes about the quarterbacks back and forth between Mahomes and Allen, as we've become accustomed to see in these Bills-Chiefs matchups. I think the Bills come away with the dub. I do. A small measure of revenge for last year's playoff loss, a heartbreaking playoff loss, which was the motivation for the new overtime rules. I'm going to go Bills 41, Chiefs 34. I got the Bills winning by 7 here on the road. Von Miller, Jordan Poyer, just a better roster. They're a better team, the best team in the AFC right now. Zap, you with us? Not really sure what's happening with Zap over there, but we're going to keep this moving. Coming up on our 10-minute mark here. Okay, come back in time here. Zap, your thoughts on the Bills and Chiefs?
Two best quarterbacks in the NFL, arguably the two best offenses in the NFL. The Bills have the better defense. I believe the Bills go into Kansas City. I think Josh Allen has revenge on his mind. And I just think this Bills team is a lot better. I've got to take the Bills in a very high-scoring game, 37-31.
No, we both agree there. Your boys, just giving you a headsy. We're coming up on the 7.5-minute mark. Go ahead, Zap. Floor is yours. This is your team.
Look, I'm going to be real. Dallas, we've been enjoying the run of Cooper Rush. It is not having Dak once again has presented the opportunity that this is a run-first team, and Kellen Moore has seen that. Dak's not playing tomorrow, but this is a game that Philadelphia is supposed to win. They have to win because if Jalen Hurts and this team drops the ball and loses at home to Dallas tomorrow with Cooper Rush, that fan base is going to lose it on Jalen Hurts. They're going to lose it on their head coach. And, a lot will say that Philly has not played a defense like this. Well, Dallas hasn't played an offensive line like this. So something's got to give. Either our pass rush is going to get home or Philly's going to shut it down. One of the two. One of our biggest Achilles heels defensively is our ability to stop the run. And one of the biggest strengths for Philly is their ability to run the ball. So once again, something's got to give. The fact that they're at home is a big one. This is very well a game where if Dallas loses tomorrow, that they can be in third place, especially if the Giants pull off a victory against the Ravens.
That's actually what I'm hoping for because you can't jump two teams on the same day. We already have one in the loss column against you, so I think it would behoove Giant fans to obviously, step one, win our game. Step two, be happy you pick up on somebody, but if you want to be in second place by day's end today,
you need Philly to win.
You need Philly to win, and that's already uncomfortable for all Giant fans because they're our biggest rival. Just win our game and see what happens with these two guys. That's the best advice I give because you don't really root for either one of them, but you know what I mean. I want to make one comment about this quarterbacking situation. I think Dak Prescott, if this was a playoff game or something like that or an elimination game, he'd be able to play. I also want to say that part of the reason he's not playing is from a psychological level or the way that the media likes to spin shit, spin. I really do believe that they need Cooper Rush to lose a game before they could go back to Dak. Because let's say hypothetically you play Dak tomorrow. It's his first game back. No guarantees. He has a rough night. Whatever the case may be. You get the loss. How does that translate and look good? Then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, guys. Dak's 0-2 and the other kid hasn't lost a game in his career as our starter. That is some controversy you don't need. It simplifies things if Rush gets his first loss, a game that you're expected to probably lose, even though I expect a close game. My prediction for it, Eagles 24. I'm going to go Eagles 27, Dallas 17.
So this is one of those, I strongly believe this. If Dallas somehow comes out with a victory, then this allows Dallas to look at Dak Prescott and say, we are going to sit you next week against the Lions and allow him to come back against the Bears.
I think he's coming back for the Detroit game. And I think you're losing this week.
Yeah, I have us losing as well.
What better game to come back in against a team that's the worst in all defensive categories? That's the get-right game to come back to.
Well, the next the next 4 weeks after Philly we're literally playing the NFC North. Also with Dallas' schedule, this is it. This is their last hard game, technically speaking, and then their schedule gets very, very easy, and they can coast. I'm taking Philly. I think Philly gets to that 24-point mark, which has been their big MO this year, but it's not going to be easy. If Jalen Hurts comes out tomorrow and he throws 2 picks and has himself one of those games that he has not been able to break away against this Dallas defense, it's going to be huge. But like I said, Philly is supposed to win this game. They're supposed to.
Yeah.
And I think they pull it off. I think they win 24-20, but it's not going to be easy.
Regardless of the result, at the end of the day, it's still week 6. And if one team loses their first game of the year, whether they should or shouldn't win the game, it's early enough. But I get where you're going with that. This is not all that exciting to me. I know. Russell Wilson looking like a shell of himself. The Denver offense is just a complete and utter mess. Can't trust anybody in that offense with probably the exception of Melvin Gordon right now. As far as the Chargers go, gradually picking up a little bit of steam. Their offense is kind of recovering. You know, they had injuries. Austin Eckler is starting to have those signature games. Justin Herbert every week is getting a little further removed from the rib injury. Not much to see here. Chargers 27, Broncos 10. I think the Chargers are going to be in control to a point where you might even see a Chase Daniel appearance late in the game. Denver, I really think made a boo-boo bringing in Russ. I'm not blaming him as the end-all, be-all for all things wrong with the Broncos, but I think Russ is proving that he has regressed in a big way very quickly.
The one great thing I'm excited about is this is the last primetime game for the Denver Broncos, because this has been out of control this year.
Well, a lot of people expected Brett. You got them scoring 20 points. I mean, anything's possible, I guess.
Yeah, anything is possible. But the Chargers
so
look like
bad.
They're getting. Yeah,
so bad.
I'm with you. I think it's going to be a 27-17 game. Chargers win. Right now, I'm trying to figure out ways that the Broncos are going to get points. The Chargers have gotten healthier defensively. It looks like Keenan Allen's going to miss another game. But offensively, they really haven't been skipping a beat, especially with how well Mike Williams has been playing this year. So I think the Chargers win this game by 10, and we go on, and the Chargers will be tied for first, technically speaking, a half game behind the Chiefs when Monday is said and done.
I'm going to ask Brett a quick question here before we get out of here. I think you joined us after we were covering this game. Brett, who do you got winning the Giant game, and who do you have winning the Pats game? I want to see a quick reply on each of those before we scoot out. No pressure, Brett. You're on the clock.
I imagine he's dropped the many F-bombs by this point.
I hope so. Brett. I'm giving Brett a moment here. It's funny. He's commented on every game since he's been on. I asked him a question. Now he's thinking. Yeah. I mean, we are talking about his team. Why would he want to participate? Until next time, maybe he's mulching. I don't know. Until next time, I'm Richie. He's Zappy. Thank you for watching. Big day tomorrow. I'm excited. Go Giants, go Yankees. And if I have to, I will trade in a Giant loss for a Yankee win, but I want to win them both. What do we got here? I don't even mean that. I want to win them both. Oh, hey, Pat's 20. Brett, you got 20 seconds. Can you give me a final on the Giant game? All right, well, that's his Pat's final.
27-20. All right.
Hey, that's what I wanted to see. 24-20 G-Men. Brett coming through. We are out.